The way we create content today has completely changed. So how do you create content that people actually engage with? How do you create content that increases your visibility? And how do you actually get ahead on content creation? We're diving into all of that and more today. Here's the deal. I have been creating content for a very long time, and I feel like I've now mastered the art of creating a lot more while doing a lot less work. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, so let me explain. When I first started creating blog posts and then videos and podcast episodes, I instinctively knew that I needed to be sharing them out on more platforms. So I'd create all of these mini graphics and quotes to drive traffic back to the original content. And I'd share them out on Facebook and Twitter, and then all of a sudden there were all of these other platforms that I had to think about. And it all became super overwhelming, and I was like, hold on a minute, do I need to create content for each new platform? Do I have to create individual new pieces of content for each specific platform? How are you supposed to keep up with all of that? It just became super overwhelming and I couldn't keep up with it all. And then I decided to take things right back to basics, and I figured out where I really thrived and how I could use that to my advantage. And you can do the exact same thing. So you can do less while creating more and reaching more people and having a bigger impact. So I'm going to break that down for you. Now, if you were my client and I was coaching you on this, the first thing I would ask you is, well, where do you thrive? And for me, it was always written word. Writing blog posts came so naturally and really easy to me, and so it just made sense to follow in that direction. But really, you have 4 options when it comes to deciding what kind of content you want to create and how you can use that pillar content to create more content from that. I don't know how many times I'm going to say content in this video, but there you go. You can keep count if you want. So basically you have video, you have audio, you have written word, and you have images. Those are the 4 categories of content that you can create. So first of all, what is your platform of choice? Comment below and let me know which one of those comes most naturally to you, because that is honestly the easiest and the best place to start. So what you really want to do is figure out which of those platforms plays to your strengths and then use that to create what I like to call, and I actually just mentioned it, your pillar content. That is your pillar piece of content, and it is going to help you create content for every single other platform. And you won't have to reinvent the wheel or have unique content for every individual platform, because that's just not humanly possible unless you've got a massive team behind you. But when you're first starting out, that's just not doable. So what is the best content strategy for 2019, 2020 and beyond? Drum roll, please. Repurposing and repackaging. Don't worry, it's very simple, and I'm going to break it down for you how I do it in my business and how I turn one piece of content into many other pieces of content for multiple platforms. So this is broken down into 2 rounds, and round 1 starts with your pillar content. Now, for me, I have 2 pieces of pillar content. I have my weekly blog post and my weekly podcast episode. So let's use my YouTube video tutorial of how to add a pin it button to Squarespace as an example. This is how I take that one video and turn it into all of these different pieces of content for all of these different platforms. I repurpose it and then I repackage it. Step 1 is creating a mini teaser to go on Instagram, and the purpose of this is to direct traffic to the latest episode on my YouTube channel. It uses the exact same footage from the YouTube episode, and then I also do an Instagram story, and again, it's using the same footage from the original YouTube video. Then I post to IGTV as well, so it's repackaged in the IGTV 16:9 format, but I don't post it on the same day I post to YouTube because I want all the traffic going to YouTube so I can get more results long term from all the views of traffic that are going there in that first 24 hours and that first week. So IGTV, the full video doesn't go up until a few days, almost a week later. And that's exactly the same thing with Facebook. For a YouTube video, I post the whole YouTube video natively, meaning I upload the video directly to Facebook a few days to a full week later as well. And for the podcast, I would share a teaser of that on the day the podcast episode goes live to direct people to go and listen to that latest episode, and I would upload that natively to Facebook as well. I also use Twitter graphics, so sometimes this is just the title graphic for the podcast episode or the thumbnail for the YouTube video, and sometimes it's quotes from the podcast episode or YouTube video. But sticking along the YouTube theme as well, I've started putting my YouTube videos on my podcast as well, and I love my podcast. It has truly been a real experiment for me, and it honestly started off as just something that I wanted to try out. It was something that I really wanted to do, but never did I think it would become one of my main pillar platforms, and it definitely has turned into that. Now, a little preface to that, because I do believe in the power of focusing in on one platform at a time and really growing that platform. That's what I did when I first started out, because especially using this strategy, that one platform will grow everything else. But other times, what I'm going to start doing more of as well is repurposing my YouTube videos. So taking the audio from the YouTube video and putting it as a podcast episode with a new intro and outro. So just making it a little bit more formatted and packaged to the audio specific podcast platforms. But it makes it so easy to pump out a lot more content when I'm repurposing and repackaging, rather than trying to create all new content all of the time. Now, for all of the blog posts, podcast episodes, and YouTube videos I create as part of my content creation strategy, what makes this even more effective and so powerful is that I try to do all of these well in advance. So I'm a big believer, as you know, I believe that you should absolutely batch content. I think if you don't batch content, it's really hard to stay consistent, and consistency is one of the biggest problems and biggest hurdles that any business owner can face. So you may want to do a fresh new piece of content and jump on a trend one week, but at least you have all of this backup content as well. So I've created plenty of podcast episodes on this. I would highly recommend listening to last week's podcast episode on how to create a 3-month content calendar, and also episode number 24, which is called Batch Working 101. I definitely recommend you listen to those and check those out, so I'll leave them linked in the description below. These are all about how you can batch your content ahead of time, and how I took 3 weeks off from my business to get married, and I didn't skip a beat. I had fresh new content coming out, I stayed consistent, and it was all because I batched ahead of time. So it's really, really powerful to continue to expand your reach and make an impact without having to be consistently working on creating content. Now, this brings us into round 2. So the most important part of round 2 is focusing on the comments that come up. When you post these pieces of content to your pillar content, so remember that for me is my weekly blog post and podcast episode, for you it might be YouTube as well. Whatever it might be, pay attention to the comments and the feedback, because the comments and the feedback will tell you exactly what resonated and what hit home the most for the people that were viewing your content. And that allows you to create even more micro content from that one piece of pillar content. So the really cool thing about this is that you have all the content there right at your fingertips once you create that one piece of pillar content. So here's another really amazing little hack or trick that you can use. Whenever I create an audio piece of content or a video piece of content or a live stream of any kind, what I'll usually do is get it transcribed, which is really important for SEO purposes, especially for YouTube and for blog posts as well, which is one of the steps that I always recommend you do. And then I'll take that and I'll take little pieces of it and turn them into quotables and graphics for Instagram and Twitter. These are based from that one piece of content that I know really hit home and got a lot of engagement. So I know that on other platforms, if I repackage them, they'll also get a lot of engagement. I want to share a real-time example of this. So I did a live training series recently, and I could tell that one of the things I said in one of the days of my training series really resonated with people. So I took that line and I decided I'm going to repurpose this because I've listened to the comments. I know that this really stood out for my audience. So I can repurpose it and repackage it without having to think of any new content and create a brand new post out of it. So I took that one line in my caption, reposted it and repackaged it, and it ended up getting so much engagement. Another thing you can do if you ever do speaking engagements or workshops is take that and turn it into a bunch of micro videos. And as you're listening back, you might find that one part of your speaking engagement got more engagement than the rest. So then you can be like, well, I might as well take that micro piece and turn it into an Instagram video. That becomes a native piece of content, and it's not a new piece of content because it's what you did in your speaking engagement, but it's repurposed and repackaged so you can expand your reach even more and get a bigger impact with your content. So this is so amazing because I can show you my content calendar and you would see how one piece of content can become so many pieces of content, and they last for months to come. One blog post, one podcast episode, one YouTube video can turn into a whole week's worth of content, and they go on to all of these different platforms. So I'm not constantly creating new content, I'm repurposing and repackaging my content to go on all of these other platforms. And this one piece of pillar content is creating content for weeks to come across all of these different platforms in all of these different versions. So I'm making content for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of these places from just one piece. And I'm able to schedule things so far in advance that I'm never really stressed about content creation. I'm basically always able to work in advance, and it gives me that flexibility. Like I said, if I want to create a blog post on a whim, I can definitely do that. But I also have this bank of content sitting there waiting, ready to be used, just in case something happens or you get sick or your schedule goes crazy. This is why it's so important to the consistency and sustainability of being a content creation machine. As someone who has been active on social media for over 6 years, believe me, I have tried everything. I've tested everything, every tool, every gadget, every tactic, every strategy, every platform, every technique, and this is truly the best strategy out there. It just works and it makes your life a whole lot easier. If you are ready to simplify your marketing strategy and attract more clients and customers online, be sure to join the Busy to Boss community on Facebook today and get daily prompts to start working towards your goals. The link is below this video. So if you like this video, take a screenshot right now and share it out on your Instagram, and always remember to tag me because I love seeing your feedback. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then hit the little notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video, which is every single week, and give this video a like if you found that it really helped you. I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching and keep bossing it.